And welcome back to Sports Weekly on IEMG. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez. In this segment, we're checking in with our friend Greg Bell. The former NFL star has done so much for our local community, helping youth in a variety of different areas. We're talking academics, the arts, life skills, and of course, he's been helping Alexander Madison with his I Am Gifted youth football camp, and he says they're already planning the next one, and it is coming back this summer, so we're looking forward to that. So here's Greg Bell sharing a lot on what he's doing right now to help the youth in San Bernardino. And now join us here on the show. He's a dear friend, and he's been the biggest ambassador for local youth in our community for a long, long time. It's Greg Bell from Athletes for Life, of course, former NFL star. And Greg, listen, people might know you for football, right? They might know you from your NFL days. Maybe they're a big Notre Dame fan. But really, I mean, get to know you a little bit better. I mean, you have a lot of interests. You have a lot of ways that you give back to the community, art, life skills camps, all these different things. Why is it so important for you to give back to the youth, to the community where you live, all those sorts of things?
Pep, it's kind of funny. I'm going to give you a short 30-second story. When I was a freshman at the University of Notre Dame, I met a really dynamic young lady who was a paraplegic by the name of Lizzie Creaser. And I would just read to her. And I think at that point in my life, I found out really what my passion was going to be. Football was just going to be the conduit to let people know who Greg Bell was. Mm-hmm. But since the day I walked into the NFL, I became the national spokesperson for Nancy Reagan, for Governor Cuomo, for anti-drunk driving and drug prevention. So I did these programs for them and went around the country. So it was always about how we could help this younger generation.
Well, Greg, there's a lot that we, could talk about here, but let's start with, the I Am Gifted camp. Obviously, we're big fans of Alexander Madison. I know you've been plugged in with a lot of guys from our local area that go on to the NFL, especially behind the scenes, helping mentor them and how they can give back to their community. The I Am Gifted camp, it's huge. And like I said, we're all big fans of Alex. So it's coming back, right?
Oh, of course, yeah. It started out, of course, as Athletes for Life. But, when you got a special kid that comes through your program like Alex did, I mean, he spent, 6-7 years in the camp program. And, you at some point, you got to get a new face to it and actually get a whole new genre. And, the things that we did with AFL were one thing. But what Alex is doing and things that he's trying to focus on are the today's problems, dealing with mental health, dealing with social justice, understanding what NIL really stands for, because there's NILs and they're collectives. So kids are coming out of school with a lot different opportunities, a lot different roadmaps to go that we didn't have in 1980 when I came out of school. And so the fact that Alex is a kid who, and I always say that he's a kid, but he's a young man who's always wanted to be in the National Football League, but he also always wanted to be an example. And, I hate to say that's kind of the same mode that I wanted to be, but, he wanted to be an example of how to do it right. Mm-hmm. And that's what the I Am Gifted camp is there for. These young men today is to show them that, they've got a gift and they've got to be able to enhance that gift that God's given them. And that's what Alex is explaining to them. And the fact that he can openly tell you that he's had mental issues that he had to deal with. He doesn't have to hide behind those clouds. He's front and center and says, hey, if you're dealing with them, you got to get help. And so we've been able to do a lot of good over the last 3 years that we've been doing the program with I Am Gifted. We've got the camp in Minnesota. We've got the camp in Idaho. We've got the camp in San Bernardino. It's going to continue because he wants to continue helping kids and making sure they understand that times are different now, but the one thing isn't different is how you play the game, and you play the game hard, you play it fast, and you play it to win.
Well, Greg, I've seen a lot of those things that you just mentioned, in person, the life skills camp, at Cal State San Bernardino, the I Am Gifted camp, the girls flag football. I mean, you were a pioneer. You helped San Bernardino City Unified School District start girls flag football before it even became a CIF sport. So what's next? What's on your plate now?
Well, like I said, we've got the arts. We launched a program this past year called Art in the Schools, where we've got 50 goggles, and we're trying to get kids to start learning the virtual, the metaverse version of art, right? And then we're going to move on to where we're trying to help the middle school, trying to get their sports programs going, because there are a lot of programs athletically that a lot of school districts just don't do for whatever the reason. But we're going to try and get things like that into San Bernardino City and get those things up and running. And then, with the art in the schools, for me, is, annually there's a large show called the LA Art Show. And it gives me that opportunity to continue what we do from a workforce development. And that's allowing them to see the arts from a beautiful standpoint. I've like I said, I've been a collector for 41 years. I love art. That's one of the things I can tell you. I really do. I wish I had a beautiful stroke, because I'd like to call myself an artist, but my art was on the field. And so now it's that opportunity is there for these kids now to learn the business of art. Like I shared with these kids this past week, there are 9. I think I heard this story once. Is there 8,000 jobs in the National Football League? When you talk about all 32 teams, the NFL headquarters, like 8,000 jobs, right? But there are only 1,580 football players. What are those other 6,000 and 7,000? What are they doing that gives them a living in pro football? And I told them it's the same way with art. It's the same thing with radio and television. We're working on a project now. It just happened. The good thing for Greg Bell is I have a lot of contacts. So a good friend of mine works at Netflix. And the first thing she said, she came to the art show. She says, "Man, we'd love to do something with you, Greg. And maybe we can do something where we can talk about the television and film industry, because have you ever looked?" I told kids, it's the funny thing. I said to them this week, I said, "Have you ever looked at the trail that runs after a movie?"
Oh, yeah. The credits are forever.
The credits are forever. And every single one of those credits are jobs.
Yeah.
How can we fill them? You have to have the opportunities. If you don't have opportunities, if you don't have the vision to have that opportunity, you're never going to be able to fill it. And so I've been fortunate enough that I have the contacts. I know enough people. Life's been a good joy for me that, you do good for others. Sometimes others turn around, they do good for you. And so, like I said, we're gonna try and continue to outreach as much as we can, because that's what Athletes for Life was created to do. And we're going to keep showing them, life can be, you can have success in life, and it doesn't always have to be in front of the light. You're not always going to be on television. You're not going to always be in the movies, but you can still have a successful life and have babies and raise a family, like yourself. And whether you're, the personality or the person behind the mic, that you never see, your producers, your directors, and things of that nature. That's what we want these young men and women from all over Southern California to understand. And this is the place we want them to make home. Really do.
Well, Greg, like I mentioned in the beginning, you're a great ambassador for our local youth and giving them opportunities to succeed in all different arenas, and whether it's sports, academics, art, whatever that case might be. So, Greg, always appreciate our conversations. And I know you always keep me up to date when there's stuff locally going on, because you're plugged into a lot of different things, like you said.
I know. And you know what? I appreciate you for getting the word out and keeping us relevant. That's the way. That's the important word. If you're not relevant, you're not doing anything. So I'm happy that AFL has been able to stay relevant now over 35 years, and so we're going to keep hustling, keep doing what we do, and I look forward to seeing you out there this summer at the I Am Gifted Camp.
I'll be there. That's Greg Bell from Athletes for Life, former NFL star, and just a great ambassador for what we're doing here in our local community. Thanks so much, Greg. A big thanks to Greg Bell for that interview and all the great things he does with this Athletes for Life Foundation here in San Bernardino. That's going to do it for this edition of Sports Weekly on IEMG. I'm your host, Pep Fernandez, and we'll see you next time.